Hello all, welcome to the next video here in the Onion Man's Rooftop 2 at a cow caravan of treasure. Sometimes barred. The street continues as it always will. And we are here with the new WWE Elite Collection Series 104 Bron Breakker and Greatest Hits King Harley Race. I figured that it felt like for a while we were never going to get again. But anyway, yay. Yeah, cool. These are some of the more later releases, some newer releases. I know we're a couple of series ahead now on Elite, so it is what it is. But glad to have both of these. I am a fan of Bron Breakker, so I was definitely looking forward to getting this. And obviously this King Harley Race is a very sought-after figure at this point. Probably not anymore now, but hey, it is what it is. So I'm going to kind of start with Bron Breakker. And then I'll go into the story behind King Harley Race of why I'm kind of dancing around the subject of what this figure is, basically. But we're going to get into Bron Breakker first. We'll just do Bron. Get it over with. If you're not familiar with Bron Breakker, he is the son of Rick Steiner and the nephew of, more famously, Scott Steiner. I know Steiner brothers are both big, but Scott's the bigger star there. Let's just be real. And Bron Breakker is the perfect combination of both of them. He looks, I'll be honest with you, he kind of looks more like Scott Steiner than he does his own dad, Rick. But he's got like the darker hair like Rick. So he's like the weird combination of both of them. And he sounds like them too. So it's kind of weird. But yeah, Bron Breakker, he's in NXT now. I'm surprised they don't just let him be Braun Steiner or whatever. But it is what it is. This is an interesting line. It's got AJ Styles, Drew McIntyre. I got this Solo Sikoa, which is a bit of a disappointing figure, but we'll take a look at it when I eventually unbox it. We got a Dakota Kai, a Rick Steiner. I'd like to get a Rick Steiner in his Steiner Brothers gear, like both him and Scott, classic Steiner Brothers. The one that came in here is like 90s Solo Rick with like the weird demolition pads on a leather jacket. It just... Like, by that point, Rick Steiner's not anywhere near as cool as Scott Steiner, let's just be real. So, yeah. Skipping this Rick, and hopefully in the future we get Steiner Brothers. That'd be great. Because that'd be the only Rick Steiner I'd really be interested in, would be a Steiner Bros. Classic Steiner Brothers one. But we went ahead and picked up Bron Breakker. I think this is his first Elite, but it's not saying first time in the line. Which I guess they're just considering first time in the line now to be any figure, basic or elite or ultimate. So it is what it is. I got him in this one. I think this is the Chase. I think the regular one is him in like pink with numbers on it, which is kind of a throwback to the Steiner math, which is great. But I like this yellow one. It reminds me more of the Steiner brothers, like the vibrant 80s, early 90s neon colors. So I went with this one instead. I don't know. I just like it more than the pink with black letters. That one looked a little too basic. So, yeah, let's get him open. I like Bron Breakker. I'm not as sold on him as some people are in terms of, like, he should be rocketed to the moon on the main roster right now. No, let's not go that far. As great as he is, he has a lot of that Steiner botchiness to him. Like, falling off middle ropes for no reason and stuff. But I do think over time... he is somebody you can really build around and make even better. I like that he was mostly a face in NXT, and now we're seeing this more heel side of him. I think that's going to benefit him, because just throwing him onto the main roster while he was NXT champion and like the white meat baby face and I'm going to do this for my dad and my uncle and all that stuff, like that would have not benefited him. He would have been very ill prepared. I think letting him go through a natural heel turn and then maybe back to babyface when he goes to the main roster, I think it's a much smarter idea. I like a lot of how Shawn Michaels is developing guys down in NXT. You can tell he's playing to their strengths as opposed to just, this guy's got a look or he's great, let's strap a rocket to him, you know. I kind of like that slow burn that he does with a lot of his talent. We got some close-fisted hands. No twist tie. Ooh, one twist tie on the arm, but looks like we can cut that pretty easy. I believe this is the first time I am getting the new NXT Championship, like the one with like the weird rainbow colors on it, or I think it's just red and blue, not really rainbow. But yeah, it looks decent. I think it looks better without that, but it is what it is. I do like the overall design. It reminds me a lot of. I'm not gonna lie here. It reminds me a lot of some of the different variations of the TNA X Division title, like the very first TNA title that looked like an. You could tell it was when it was the NWA TNA X Division Championship, and it had the really big blocky X in the middle. And later on, they kind of narrowed out the X, but wow, this guy is stuck in here. There we go. Wow, that was more rough than it needed to be. Trash. Okay. Let's get him all settled up here. This is a really cool figure. Just like looking at it out of the box now. I like this a lot. So here we go. We got Bron Breakker. Looks good. Looks like they gave him the jacked up torso. There is that little bit of paint differentiation because it's the molded on singlet. So they paint it here and then try to paint the skin beneath it. So it's a little off in comparison to the rest of the body, like the arms and the legs down here and the head. But it's not bad. It's not as bad as like some of the Chad Gable ones used to be. Those were pretty rough. We've got his like random tribal tattoo. I think he said he got it because he was a Goldberg fan, right? Like that's like his thing. Which in his style of wrestling, he is. Like, he does some things Steiner-esque, but he does a lot more Goldberg-esque things. I do like the garb, though. I like the purple in the back. I like the different, just like wacky neon colors. It looks good. They painted the upper part of his thighs black to kind of go with like that Under Armour vibe underneath the tights that he has going. Plain white boots. You got Breakker on it. Pretty simple, but effective. Yeah, I like this. I think this is a much better figure than some people were giving it credit for. But then again, I saw a lot of people getting that pink one with the numbers, and I'm wondering if that just threw people off, because this one to me looks way better. Stands really good, so yeah. I like it. I like it. I am a fan of Bron Breakker. Do I think he's the end-all, be-all future of the business? I don't. Do I think he can be a major player in the future of the business? I do. So there you go. That's my take on Bron Breakker. I like him, but I'm not going to sit there and crown him the future yet. So for Bron, specifically, thumbs up. Good figure. I like that one. Next one, probably the more exciting figure here. For those in the know, if you know, you know. We got King Harley Race. Comes with his robe or his cape, if you will. We got a crown. Looks like it's a pretty good likeness. So years ago, in the Walmart exclusive, there was a line of figures that were Walmart exclusives. And I think, was it the Hall of Fame wave where they had like different Hall of Famers and figures and stuff? Either way, there was a King Harley Race figure. This figure is basically just a re-release of that figure. But it was hard to find. It didn't get released the way it was supposed to. And so unless you were like in Canada at a Toys R Us and you found this, you could get it. But it never really got released here in the States as far as I know. And if it did, it was like a really super limited release. And, excuse me. Yeah. Over time, it just became one of the hardest figures to find. It was super expensive, especially new in box. And they finally re-released it with this Greatest Hits line. I love that. It sucks if you're one of those people who has one of those original ones and it lost value. That sucks. I'm sorry. But I wanted this, so hey, I'm glad we finally have it. It looks like it's pretty much just a straight re-release. I don't know if there's any updates on this or not. So we'll see. But yeah. Now, that being said, is this an ideal Harley Race? No. I would rather have NWA World's Champion Harley Race. Like him with the blue trunks and like the red... he had like blue and red trunks, right? And then like just wrestling boots, brown hair, the goatee. I would rather have prime 70s Harley Race than like mid-80s King Harley Race for sure. But this is the Harley Race we have for now, so we're rolling with it. Perhaps the toughest man to ever lace up a pair of boots, the King was crowned after winning the King of the Ring tournament in 1986. Yeah, people forget about that whole King of the Ring thing. And then this leads to his feud with Junkyard Dog, and then later King Haku and all that stuff. But this line had Positively Page. It had like Motivational Speaker DDP, Money in the Bank Seth Rollins. Is it the WrestleMania 14 Shawn Michaels? Blue Tista. Like super satanic tag team with Big Show, Undertaker, and then King Harley Race. Um, I haven't seen a lot of King Harley Race. I guess he still is kind of the one people want out of this set and have been buying the most of. I have seen mostly everybody else. I've seen a lot of Shawn Michaels and a lot of The Undertaker. A lot of people do not want this Undertaker, and a lot of people do not want this Shawn Michaels. And I think that's because being a re-release, the accessories on the Shawn Michaels are just all one solid color. They haven't been painted in or anything, so that kind of sucks. Same thing with like the Rollins. I think because it's just a re-release, it's not updated really. People didn't really care. I haven't really seen much of DDP, to be honest. Blutista I've seen a couple times, but I've mostly seen Michaels and Taker. And then I saw 2 Harley Races, which is when I bought this one. I did not buy the other one. I wasn't going to be an asshole about it. I left it there for another collector who also wanted a King Harley Race because they never got one back in the day. So let's go ahead and open up Harley Race. I like Harley Race a lot. So I think if all you know is King Harley Race from the 80s, I feel bad for you. Please, if you can, I know there's probably not a lot of it out there, but go back and watch his 70s work against Ric Flair, against the Funks, against so many people, and the way he would talk, and he would hold the NWA belt, like cradle it like a baby, like in one arm, and just like, when I go in there, I prove myself as the world's champion. Like the world's champion, not the world champ, the world's champion. Like, God damn it. It's badass. NWA champion Harley Race is badass. And that's the Harley Race I hope we get next. I want an NWA champion Harley Race. I know they probably don't have the whatever to make the NWA belt. That'd be great. But I have an NWA belt from an old Christian Cage TNA figure. So I'll just slap that on there and call it good. Yeah, cool. So, not really a lot to go on accessory-wise here. I mean, there is, but there isn't at the same time. He's got alternate closed-fisted hands. He's got the crown, which actually has plastic in it, so that's interesting. But, like, I love the detail on this. They, like, painted each jewel. They painted the little, little French flower thing, or whatever it is, like the New Orleans Saints logo. I can never remember what it's called. This is great. This looks fantastic. It makes me want to get that new Attitude Era Jerry Lawler that just came out. That's not good. Haha. Okay. All right. Oh, that's a button. Okay, that's cool. So he comes with his robe or cape or whatever too. It is a solid plastic piece, but they did add the detail. You can see where it's fur. You can see the black dots in the fur. It's got this. This is actually just a little peg. It goes in, so it's not an actual rope. I think you could have done a little bit better making this little gold rope a little more whatever, but I don't know. You could probably put a wash over this and it would look a lot better. And on to Harley Race himself, man. This is going to be an interesting figure to kind of look at, because I got some mixed feelings about the way this looks, like out of box already. Like, not in a bad way per se, but just like I wasn't expecting that kind of way. This figure's built like Gunther. You'll see what I mean. I love a lot of the detail on this, though. Oh my god. Okay, so here we go. First off, I think this is a pretty solid old man Harley Race likeness. By this point, you got to think Harley Race was not in his prime anymore. By the time he's doing the King Harley Race gimmick in WWF, apologies, I had to take a swig of a soda. By the time he's doing that, he's out of his prime. I mean, he's probably, at that point, like at least 5 years over his prime. I would say his prime is mostly the mid to late 70s, and you're talking about him doing this like in the mid to late 80s. So yeah, but you got all of his tattoos. He had some military tattoos, right? That's what these were. I can't remember, but they do have his tattoos on here. He was dyeing his hair bleach blonde. His real hair is just brown. And that's what it was. It was Vince McMahon getting old NWA stars and then gimmicking, making them gimmicks, That's what he did. You had like Adrian Adonis. You had King Harley Race. Junkyard Dog was not the serious, Not that Junkyard Dog was ever the greatest wrestler per se, but he wasn't the serious kind of competitor that he had been like in Mid-South. He was just like the cartoony Junkyard Dog in the WWF and the Rock and Wrestling era. Same thing with King Harley Race. He got turned into a gimmick. The crown on the back of his pants, I don't know if it's supposed to be off-center like that, but that is interesting. Maybe it is. I don't know. I do love the detail of his boots. They're like a lighter purple, and they even outline the crown in gold, and his laces are gold. This is awesome. These would make great LeBron James Laker boots. Just saying. So yeah, it's not an ideal Harley Race. I would rather have NWA champion Harley Race, but I'm down for Rock and Wrestling King Harley Race as well. Hopefully we get that 70s Harley Race soon. I think they did release one way back when their Legends line first happened years ago. There's a lot of Legends that now that they're doing this Greatest Hits thing, I hope they come like re-release. I would love a new version of Kerry Von Erich, Texas Tornado. I think that would be fantastic. 70s Harley Race. I'm not a big Legion of Doom fan, but I do think we need some Road Warriors. Steiner Brothers would be great. The Freebirds. I mean, God, there's so many you could do that would be awesome. But he looks decent. It's a really good figure, and I would actually go as far as say I think this is underrated. I never had the original, so I can't compare it, even though I do think it's a straight re-release. I could be wrong. But yeah, he's got like that kind of barrel-y body. If you look at the back, like Harley Race was never really fat per se, but he was like kind of big and barrel-y chested. He wasn't that toned, that's for sure. So I don't know what you could have done. Maybe that first Walter body. Remember the ringside exclusive Walter figure? Maybe you could have used that body on here and it would have worked better. But beyond that, I do think this is a really nice figure. I especially just love the attention to detail on the boots. I don't know why, like, they're awesome. Yeah, so for Harley Race, will he stand? Yeah, stands good. So for Harley Race, King Harley Race, I'm going to give it a thumbs up. I think it's a great figure. I think the wait was worth it. This build up to this figure we never got before and now we're getting it. I think it was worth it. I think it's a good thumbs up figure. Would I rather have NWA World's Champion Harley Race? Absolutely. But this is a thumbs up as well. And so is the Bron Breakker. I think these are both fantastic figures. They really work for what they're supposed to be. Not a lot of issues. Thankfully, no joint or tightness or looseness on either one of these. So no knick-knacky kind of issues. And yeah, thumbs up for both of them. And if you like this video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. You do not have to if you don't want to, but I always appreciate anybody who does. And that's it for this one. I'll catch you guys in the next video.